Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video I have a clear jelly stamper haul and then we're going to do a little stamping design as well. So very recently Clear Jelly Stamper, the UK site, had a huge sale. It was like 90% off most items, so I had to grab a few little things. And I wanted this crown brush holder when I last ordered from them, and it was out of stock. So I was really happy to see that this was in stock and in the sale. Just how pretty is this? Now originally I was just going to pick up this and a couple of stamping polishes, but then I see they had some really good plates at really low prices as well, so I just grabbed a couple of those as well. But I love how this brush holder looks. It looks really pretty on your desk and it holds your brushes nice and easily, so I'm sure you'll see this in a few of my videos. So I ordered 4 stamping polishes. I actually only ordered 3. One I accidentally doubled up on the colour. I didn't even realise that I'd clicked 2, but luckily it's a really pretty colour, so it doesn't matter that I have 2. So the first one we have here is Vintage Denim. Now I did play around with the lighting when I was looking at this because it looks a lot brighter on camera. It's a little bit more of a periwinkle, just slightly paler than what it looks on camera. Then we have Vintage Coral. This is the one that I accidentally picked up 2 of. Have you ever done that? You know, placed an order and didn't realise that you bought 2. Luckily, like I said, they was heavily discounted, so I didn't waste loads of money. But it's a beautiful coral shade. I do use these in the video, so you will see them in use further along, where you can see the colours a little bit better that way as well. I really love the Clear Jelly stamping polishes. These and the Born Pretty ones are my favourites. I haven't tried loads of different brands, but I do really like this one. Here we have Espresso. This is just a really nice rich brown. It has a little bit of a burgundy tone to it as well. I wanted this one just because I always find whenever I'm doing any like florals or greenery, I never have enough browns, or any browns really, to add in. Now, they did pop a little note in. One of the reasons they were having their huge sale at Clear Jelly Stamper UK was because I think they're moving warehouses. So I did have a little note on the website saying that some of the backing cards for the stamping plates might be missing, which didn't really bother me because I never really use them anyway. I take a little look at them and then end up losing them. So the first plate we have is Easter 2. This has some really cute little bunny designs on there, some little Easter eggs. I thought it'd just be fun to use in some Easter sets. I always get a little bit lost when it comes to doing Easter designs, so I felt as though having a stamping plate would make it a little bit easier this year, because I end up not really bothering to do Easter nails just because, I don't know, it's one of those things that I struggle with a little bit. Then we have the Spring Garden plate. I loved this one because it had a combination of individual flowers and then 2 full cover designs as well. So these are all layered. So it does help having the backing cards to see how they're layered, but you can see these on the website if you don't have them anyway. These 2 plates here, you'll see that they come with the backing card, so it's a little bit easier to see how the images work. But like I said, when I'm doing stamping, I very rarely refer to them anyway. So this one is my favourite. This is the Sketched Garden plate. This is the one that I'm going to be using further along in the video. I mainly got it because I loved these large flowers on the left hand side, these ones here, and I loved how they had that sketched vibe to them. Just was really pretty. You can see how they were stamped here. I love all the larger leaves as well, and again you've got a full cover image there too. And then the last plate I got was the Boho Vibes one. I was going to get this last time I ordered and I ended up taking it out of my basket. And then I thought, you know what, now it's on sale, I'm definitely going to grab it. I really loved the little cactuses. Again, it's got lots of little leaves, which I tend to use a lot when I'm doing stamping. But then I really loved all the boho things there as well, especially the rainbow. So I'm looking forward to giving that a go. Again, it's a really fun plate and there's lots of small images on there that you can combine together, and you can also combine them with other plates and things like that. So let's do a little design. I'm going to be using Kiki London gel polishes in today's video. So I'm going to come in with 1 layer of coconut to begin with. Coconut is a really nice bright white, so it is one of the colours I reach for a lot as a base for any kind of nail art. Because it is a very highly pigmented, I do recommend applying it nice and thinly rather than building up too much thickness with it. Now over the top of that, I'm going to come in with Moonlight Pearl. This is one of my favourite Kiki London colours because it gives off a beautiful pearlescent effect. A lot of the time I end up using this over a white, but you can use it over any colour and it creates that pearlescent effect over that particular colour. But I especially love it over white. It's a little bit hard to see here, but you'll see it further along when we top coat and things like that. And these are the 3 stamping polishes I'm going to be using. I can't remember the colour of the green one, but I'll find out and leave it linked below. And I'm also going to be using my Nicole Diary white stamping polish. And then for all of my stamping, I'm going to be using the Clear Jelly Big Bling stamper because this is my favourite stamper. So I'm going to start off by peeling back the blue protective sheet that is over your stamping plates. Depending on where you buy from, sometimes this sheet is clear and it can be very hard to see. So do make sure you remove it, as it is a bit of a rookie error not removing that film and then wondering why you can't pick up your stamping image. So I'm going to go in with one of the large flowers first of all, and I'm going to take this beautiful coral shade. Now whenever I'm working over one of these larger images, I like to apply a generous amount of polish to make sure it pulls into that image before I then scrape off the excess. As you can see, it picked it up beautifully. There's no patches or any gaps missing. And then I'm just going to press this down on to my nail. I like to give it a little wriggle from side to side and then gently lift it off. I have left the stamping for this first nail in real time just so you guys can see how I stamp. I always get lots of questions on one of our older stamping videos about stamping, and I always forget to write them down so that I can answer them in a video. So if you do have any questions, pop them in the comments below and I'll make a note of them and try and do another stamping video where I can answer any questions you may have. So now we're going to come over the top with the top layer of this image so it gives you that sketched outline detail. Again, I do always apply a generous amount of stamping polish and then scrape off that excess. I just roll my stamper across the image. I don't really find it makes any difference what direction I roll my stamper across in. And then the most important part is trying to line this up as perfect as possible. If you are new to layered stamping, these particular images are a little bit easier to do because it doesn't matter too much if you don't layer them up perfectly. It still looks quite pretty, if that makes sense, and gives a little bit of an abstract minimalist vibe, and I feel as though even if they're not layered perfectly, they still look really nice. Some of the harder ones to layer, I find, are the more full cover, full nail layers, if that makes sense. So the full nail images, I couldn't get my words out because they are taking up the whole nail. And I also find if there's more than 2 layers, it's a little bit tricky as well. I haven't done loads of layered stamping. It's definitely something I need to play around and practice a little bit more, but I do love doing it because you do need quite a few colours, I feel, stamping polish wise, to make the designs look good. But it's a really fun thing to do and it looks really pretty, especially if you're not very good at things like hand drawing or if you're in a salon and you don't have time for hand painting. So on this now, I'm just going to add another one of the littler flowers. So that's another thing I really loved about this plate. You had the large flowers and then you had the smaller flowers that were very similar as well, because depending on the length of nails you're doing, the larger flowers might be a little bit too much on a small nail or short nail. So you've got the option of the smaller ones up the top as well. I really loved how the coral and blue worked together in this set as well. They weren't necessarily 2 colours that I would put together, but I wanted to try out 2 of the new stamping polishes I'd ordered, so that was why I put them together, and I was glad I did because I thought they looked really pretty. Whenever I do buy any new plates or new polishes, I like to have a little play around with them just to see how they work, because sometimes you will find that certain stamping polishes work different, like certain brands, even certain colours sometimes can work a little bit differently. And the same for stamping plates. I've sometimes found that some require less polish and some require more polish, so I always like to, when I get a new plate, have a little play around with a few of the images from it. You only need to use a few of the images and then you kind of get a bit of a feel for that plate. So now we're going to move on to the second nail in this design. So on this nail, I also did the one coat of coconut and the one coat of Moonlight Pearl. So exactly the same base as we did on the first nail, but I'm just going to use a couple of the different flowers. This time I decided to add the larger blue flower down in the tip of the nail. So you'll see here, it didn't fully transfer at the very tip of the nail. So I'm just using a little bit of that excess to fill in the space so that you couldn't see the little white gap. You can kind of notice the difference in colour, but once you top coat, that's minimalised and you don't really see it. Always make sure that you're giving your stamping plates a really good clean between images. I usually use a cotton pad or some lint-free pads, but I didn't have any to hand, so I'm just using some kitchen towel paper, and I've just made sure it's soaked in acetone and I can give my plate a good wipe with it, because otherwise some of that stamping polish will dry on in your images and then they don't pick up as nicely. So I always like to make sure I'm giving it a good clean between each image. And I absolutely loved how this one stamped down. I thought it looked really pretty at the tip of the nail. You could just leave this nail like that and just have florals on the tips and that would look really pretty. But on this particular nail, I wanted to add in two more. So I do another larger flower and then we're going to do a smaller one as well. I wanted to use this particular flower here because this one had the most details in the outline layer, so I wanted to see how well that would stamp, and I was really pleased to see that it all stamped absolutely perfectly. Every image I tried stamped really well, so I was impressed with that. And I just want to take a moment to apologise for my voice. I've been bunged up with a cold for around a week and a half now. I just can't seem to shift it, which is so strange for me. Usually I pick up a cold and I'm able to get rid of it in a couple of days. This one, it feels as though the cough has just been lingering on and I just can't wait to get rid of it and sound normal and be able to breathe normal again as well. So I do apologise for that. I did put off doing a video I can't remember, I had a video that I was going to upload and I put off doing it because I just sounded awful in the video, and then I thought I would do this one first and upload the other one after. So when you are doing your layer, just take a few minutes or a few seconds, however long you need, to line up the image. Lots of people say you need to work really quickly when you're stamping, but I find that you can slow down once you've picked up your image. So I like to work quick when it comes to apply my stamping polish, scraping and picking up the image. But once you've picked up that image on your stamper, you can slow down a little bit. So when you are doing your layered designs, don't stress too much to be too quick, because you do need to take a little bit of a minute to work out how they layer up. It does help if when you pick it up you remember what way you placed it down. Like some of the flowers, I've picked them up and then I've put them down on the nail upside down depending on how I want them positioned. So just kind of try and bear that in mind for your next layer. But I don't stress too much about how long I'm taking to add my second layer on, because I don't find that I have any problems transferring the image once I've picked it up. The only time I feel like I have problems with speed is if I take too long when I'm scraping and picking up the image, because then the polish dries on your stamping plate and you aren't able to pick it up as easily. I always press down and do a little wriggle from side to side, and I find that this helps my image place down perfectly. I was just pointing out there in the center of the nail, I did have a few little speckles of stamping polish, so I'm just going to take some alcohol on my round nail art brush and clean that off. And then that's the two middle, basically the middle and ring finger done in this particular design. On to the pointer and little finger, I'm going to be using this gorgeous colour. This is Mojito Ice from Kiki London, and I absolutely love this colour. It's one of my favourites for the spring. It's a beautiful mint green, but I love that it's a little bit muted. It's not too bright. I just really love it. It's such a gorgeous colour. It has that lovely creamy consistency to it as well, so it makes it really easy to apply. All of my Kiki London colours I cure in my Kiki London LED lamp for 30 seconds. If you are using a UV lamp, which I don't think many of us do use anymore, but if you are, then it is a 2-minute cure. And also, if you're not using the brand lamp that matches your brand gel polish, you may have to play around with your cure times as well, but I always find a 30-second cure is sufficient. So once I'd cured both my layers of that, we're going to come in and do some leaves. So I decided to do the base of my leaves on this design white. So as you see, I'm using that Nicole Diary white stamping polish, and I'm just going to place this down in the center of the nail, and I love that it took up most of the nail. I'm working on a fairly long nail, and that's what I love about some of the Clear Jelly stamper plates, is they have a lot of images that are suitable for larger nails as well, or longer nails, sorry. So I loved that that took up most of the nail. Then for the outline, I'm going to come in with the black. I felt as though because we got the colour in the gel polish, I wanted to leave the stamping image black and white, and I loved how it looked. Give off a bit of a monochrome look with that pop of colour. So here's where I'm taking my time to try and line this up as perfectly as I can. I usually pick a point of the image and try to line that up, and then just double check everything else as lined up as well. And as you can see, it was a pretty good layer. I don't do lots of layered stamping, so I was impressed how it turned out. And then we're going to use a different leaf on the second nail that we're doing in this colour. I think this ends up being the little finger, but I'm doing exactly the same as before with the white and the black. I don't worry too much. I know some people say when you scrape off, do you worry about the smeared polish on your plate? I never find that the Clear Jelly stamper picks up those smears. Some cheaper quality stampers I've used, they do tend to pick up the smeared stamping polish, but I don't ever find I get that with the Clear Jelly stamper. So I like to just do one scrape, and then I find that's sufficient. Sometimes I might do two if I feel that I've used a bit too much polish, but you don't want to scrape away too much of the polish because otherwise it can affect the pickup of the image. This has been a pretty simple video, but I love stamping, so I hope you've all enjoyed watching, and I hope you've been able to pick up some tips and tricks if you are struggling with stamping yourself. I do have some more stamping videos coming up over the next couple of weeks because I've got some new stamping products to try, so do keep an eye out on my channel for those. If you have any video requests, pop them in the comments below and I will try my best to get them done. I have a few videos that I haven't got around to editing and voiceovering just yet, so hopefully I'll be able to get them done over the next couple of days and start getting a bit more consistent with uploading on my channel. So I'm going to now come in and top coat. I'm top coating using the Kiki London top coat. This particular one has a tacky layer that you need to wipe off, but it is one of my favourite top coats for going over stamping because I just find that I don't get any separating or anything like that. Some top coats tend to separate over stamping, but I don't find that that happens with this one. So I'm going to come in and top coat all of the nails with this one, and then off camera I wipe off that tacky inhibition layer because I forgot to show you guys doing it on camera. But after I had top coated all 4 of the nails, I decided that I wanted to do the 2 white nails matte. So I'm going to come in with the Kiki London No White Matte top coat, and I'm just going to apply this exactly the same as before but only on the 2 white nails. And I really love that combination of a matte and glossy, but let me know in the comments below, what did you prefer these 2 nails? They look a lot softer once you've come in and added the matte top coat, which I felt as though worked with the vibe that I was going for in this design. And I also love how that Moonlight Pearl looks matte as well. So this is the finished result. I really hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, then please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would absolutely love it if you did. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.